Well. The soccer gods have blessed us once again with yet another great weekend for American soccer, for Americans plying their trade across the Atlantic and some here at home, both north and south of the Rio Grande. How are we doing, guys? Happy Sunday. Didn't the clocks go back last night or forward, whatever it is? And then you also have Oscars tonight, because who doesn't want to watch a bunch of celebrities hand each other participation trophies and pat themselves on the back for changing the world while telling the rest of us how to live? Exciting times. What you guys been up to? Teresa Rose says woot woot. Kyler, USA expat. Hey Pete. Landon, Wuxia Game Central. Wes, is Wolverine confirmed? Absolutely mind-boggling how he manages to come back from injury so quick. And not only come back from injury, but look so damn good. The guy dislocated his shoulder barely a week ago. And he's out here destroying Serie A, as per the usual. Seth Floyd, my birthday was last week. Happy birthday, Seth. Happy birthday to you. Kevin Polite, like button is just as smashed as the Arsenal fans last night after the game in London. It's going to be an exciting Premier League race. 3 teams, Liverpool, Manchester City, and Arsenal, all within 1 point of each other. Rascality says, if Pete ever won an Oscar, he'd get played off the stage after ranting about the USSF and Triple G. I know, I'd be like, thank you to the Academy for this award. But there's a real issue nowadays. I want to talk about U.S. soccer and Greg Berhalter. And everyone would be like, what is he talking about? Who? All right. Let's start with a word from our sponsor. I always forget to do this one early on, and then I have to do it late. So let's do it now. And if you are here, smash that like button. We have already 65, 66 people in the chat and only 26 likes, guys. This is an outrage. Smash it while we play this button. This video.
Fantasy Sports is back with a new and improved pick'em game across all sports that makes it easy to play fantasy sports with just a few clicks. Each sport allows you to build a parlay that includes between 2 and 5 predictions about the outcomes of player projections. As you would expect, the more picks you include, the greater the potential payout. Don't go crazy with it and play responsibly, but adding a few bucks here and there to a game gives it a little more excitement and stakes. Use my promo code 11YANKS or click the link in the description to start playing, and Underdog will match whatever you put in your account up to $100. Enjoy!
All right. Thank you to Underdog for helping to sponsor this stream and sponsoring the channel. Smash that like button, guys. We went from 27 to 35, but there's almost 80 guys already in the chat. So the rest of y'all, come on. No one's asking you to send a super chat. Just help support the channel by hitting like. All right. Smash it like you do those French girls. Yikes. Okay, Joe Scally makes it into the top 10 after helping get an assist against Köln in Gladbach's 3-3 draw. It was not a great assist or anything, probably accidental. I didn't really carve it out because he was so close to the guy who scored. It sort of bounced off Scally's chest. Whether or not he intended it or not, it still counts as an assist, which is just enough to sneak him into that top 10. He also created 2 chances, 7 passes into the final third, 1 out of 6 accurate crosses, so not great there. 5 out of 11 accurate long balls, 1 out of 1 aerial duels, and 4 fouls drawn, which was a match high. It shouldn't be up for debate, to be honest, that with, Sergino Dest being out for that Jamaica game in 2 weeks, that Joe Scally should start against Jamaica. But let's wait and see what Greg Berhalter does, because his favorite boy, Shaquille Moore, is touted as the next big thing by Greg himself. Number 9, Paxton Aronson, who made the right choice, in my opinion. He wasn't quite ready for the Bundesliga, and that's okay. So he got that loan move out to Vitesse Arnhem in a very good developmental league, the Eredivisie, and is doing well there, starting regularly, contributing to goals, got another goal against Walwick, despite the fact that they lost that game. No, wait, I don't remember if they lost that game, but I know he got the goal. Also created 5 chances, 0 out of 2 successful dribbles, 4 out of 7 ground duels won, and 0 out of 1 aerial duels won. This is the goal. It was sort of bouncing in behind, and he managed to get a foot to it and put it into the far post. So good job, Paxton. Next up, the Ginger Ninja himself, Josh Sargent, cannot stop scoring. In Norwich City's 5-0 rout of Rotherham, he actually didn't have the greatest game, but he still managed to get this beautiful finish. This was a cross. He gets in behind and he hits it first time as it's dropping. That's not easy to do. It wasn't like it was crossed on the ground. It was dropping in front of him, and that's hard because if you hit it even an inch off the exact right spot on the ball, you could either knock it into the ground and it'll bounce harmlessly to the keeper, or you could sky it. But he hit it just right and ended up getting the 5th goal for Norwich versus Rotherham for his 12th goal of the season. Next up, Big Dunk. Duncan Maguire had a really disappointing transfer window through no fault of his own. Blackburn Rovers wanted him, didn't get the paperwork done in time, or made an error, clicked save instead of send. And unfortunately, they also had to send Duncan Maguire back to Orlando. Now, Duncan could do one of two things, drop his head, feel like life's done him a sour turn, but he's not doing that. Had a very nice brace against Minnesota United for Orlando City, played 87 minutes, had 2 goals, 1 chance created. Wasn't great outside of those 2 goals, but ultimately a striker's job is to score goals, and he did that, and good for him. I am not one of those Duncan Maguire fanboys. I think from a USMNT perspective, he's not really USMNT material. But if you score a brace, you will probably make it into the top 10. So good for him. This was the first goal. Nice finish with his left foot. Under some pressure as well here. And this was the second goal, which, to be fair, was a really nice goal. Had the defender there, as you can see, right in front of him. But he hit it with his right foot, but he put enough curl on it for the outside of his boot for it to bend behind the defender and then just sneak into the far post and evade the keeper. Really, really nice finish. Great technique on that finish. Let's see. Winelka Gonzalez says, "Hey, Pete, how's it going? I know it's been a while and I just got here. I just wanted to say I got fired at my work. I'm sorry to hear that, man. But your videos of soccer is keeping me very happy to enjoy life." Cool, man. I appreciate it. I hope you get another job. Get on, what is it? Not Zillow. Zillow is for houses. Indeed. Get on Indeed and start applying for work. I'm rooting for you, buddy. All right. Alejandro Zendejas. The much maligned Alejandro Zendejas got 2 goal contributions versus Tigres after playing 84 minutes. 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 out of 2 successful dribbles, and 3 out of 6 ground duels won. Now, he may not be USMNT material, certainly not in the long term. I think probably he will be there in March just because Greg likes him and because he is producing in Liga MX, and with Taylor Booth out, I think it's probably going to be either Aronson and Paredes as the backup wingers to Pulisic and Weah, or it's going to be Aronson and Zendejas. I think Zendejas and Paredes are probably fighting for that last spot on the roster. So this was the assist was nothing special. He was the last guy that touched it in a tussle near the halfway line, and then his teammate went on to do this mazy run and scored. But this was a really nice goal. And again, this is just the finish here, but this was actually a ball over the top that he took down with the top of his foot and, made a run at goal and then finished it very, very nicely. Let's see. Ethan Horvath for Cardiff City FC. Now, I was concerned when he made this move to Cardiff because they already had a goalkeeper, and I didn't think that he was going to start, especially after being on the bench for the first 2 or 3 games. But he's come back and played really, really well for Cardiff. This week, he played 2 games. First, they beat Huddersfield 1-0, and then I think they beat Ipswich through 2-1. Either way, he played 90 minutes against Ipswich, made 3 saves, 1 diving save. He's completing most, or if not all, of his short passes. Long passes, there's a lot more to it than just, accuracy of the pass. So I don't really get too much on keepers for that unless they shank it out of bounds. That's a different story. Played 90 minutes also against Huddersfield, got the clean sheet, made 2 saves, 1 diving save, and seems to be, loved by the fans in such a short time. Now, Cardiff are still outside the, playoff zone, but they are winning games. So they still have a shot to technically get into the playoffs, to get into the Premier League. And if somehow Ethan Horvath manages to promote yet a third team, that's got to be some kind of record. Remember, he had a hand in Nottingham Forest getting promoted, as well as Luton Town. Now, let's see if he ends up. Personally, I don't think Cardiff is going to get promoted. I think it's probably, Leeds and Leicester at the top of the four right now in the playoff spots. I probably put my money on Southampton. But good for him, man. This man, when we talk about mentality of players and we talk about, not giving up and refusing to quit, Ethan Horvath represents. How long has this guy been toiling away in Europe? To the point where I, who don't rate MLS, I'm saying come back to MLS, and he's like, no, I'm good enough to play in Europe, and I'm going to find a club that will play me. And he keeps doing that, from Norway to Belgium to the Championship to the Premier League to back down to the Championship again. He keeps managing to find ways to get on the field, to get, playing time for a team, and long may it continue. Good for him. Cardiff fans love him, especially after they scored the last-minute stoppage time winner on the weekend, and he was on the other end of the field, and he ran over and he shook his fist or something. He did something, made some kind of gesture at the Ipswich fans, which, they were doing the, oh, fuck all. This is in the Brits when they want to insult you. It's like, sorry, I can't say nothing because my mouth is full of, steak and kidney pie. I'll ever do this. Fake out, wanker. So good to see an American winding those Brits up. This was one of the saves he made against Ipswich Town. Really nice save. This was another really good save that he made against Huddersfield. Those were two of the better ones. Those diving saves, the ones you want to watch for. Sergino Dest versus Go Ahead Eagles. By the way, is there a greater name in any clubs in the world than Go Ahead Eagles? 90 minutes, 1 goal, three chances created, 4 out of 5 successful dribbles, which was a match high, 2 out of 6 accurate crosses, 2 out of 3 accurate long balls, 7 out of 9 ground duels won, and 1 foul drawn. Let us not forget that there were people saying that we should bench Dest, or that Dest was not very good after his misadventures at Barcelona and at Milan. And all he had to do was drop down a little bit of a level, refocus, mature, get his head straight, and be a contributor. And we saw the same thing happen to Weston McKennie after his Leeds misadventure. And so it's a good reminder to not give up on young, talented players. As much as we might be tempted to do the same with Gio, who is now injured, and I'm running out of patience with him myself. Hopefully Gio can go back to Dortmund in the summer, recognize the mistakes that he has made, certainly with this transfer, get his head down, work hard, earn a spot on the field, because once I'm starting to lose patience with Gio, guys, it's probably time. I still think he's a very, very talented player, but at some point, Gio has got to get on the field and show it. And it's like, yeah, Nottingham Forest was probably a terrible move, right? I mean, who was that guy, Andre Santos, that went from Chelsea and played one game for them. So they don't really play loanees. Anyways, he just wanted to get out of Dortmund, and I understand that, but it was a very, very poor choice to go to Nottingham Forest. And now he's injured again. Doesn't mean he still can't be a contributor for us, but he needs to, at some point, really start showing out for his club. We know he plays well for the national team, but for his club, it's just a completely different story with Gio. And even I am losing interest, or not losing interest. I'm not losing faith. But if by the summer, Giovanni Reina doesn't go back to Dortmund, work hard, earn, if not a locked-in starter, at least a part-time starter some games, substitute some games, then it'll be very difficult to continue to advocate for him. This was the really nice goal that Dest scored. Again, this is just a finishing curler, but he dribbled from infield, beat several players on the dribble, and then scored this nice curler into the back of the net. Number 3, Haji Wright, another American. Absolutely. Talk about Ethan Horvath and and how long he spent in Europe trying to find a spot and refusing to quit and come home. Haji Wright didn't want to sign with the LA Galaxy. Okay. This is the trajectory of his career. So he went and played, I think, for the New York Cosmos. Okay. So that he could get a move to Europe sooner. Went to Schalke, didn't quite work out there. Went to Denmark, went to the Netherlands, went back to Denmark, then ended up in Turkey and is now balling out in the championship. So good for him. Played 59 minutes against West Brom in midweek and got 1 assist, but it was really the 2 goals to help them beat West Brom on the weekend that gets him this high up in the team of the week. This was the penalty that he scored against West Brom. And then this was a really nice finish despite having a defender with him blocking a good portion of his path to goal. Still hit it sweetly with his left foot from the edge of the box on the half volley to make it a really, really nice goal. And they're absolutely falling in love with him over there in Coventry City. So good to see Haji doing so well. He can also play winger like Sargent. So that kind of depth and versatility is going to hopefully make him valuable to the men's national team. Now, is Greg going to call him for Nations League? I don't know. Personally, I'd probably bring him over Aronson, but I'd also bring Sargent over Aronson. Sargent, I'm not so sure is going to end up going just because he is still not fully fit, according to his coach, and he almost never plays 90, gets pulled. Apparently he's not quite training right, and I'm thinking to myself, whoa, if this is half-fit Sargent, what's he going to look like when he's fully fit? But Haji, I'd say for sure deserves a spot in that Nations League roster. This was the assist he got midweek. It wasn't the greatest. I think he just managed to get a foot to it for his teammate, and then it went right to his teammate's path. I don't know how calculated it was, to be honest. But hey, kudos to him for doing so well. I think he's got 13 goals now in the championship. Christian Pulisic versus Slavia Prague, played 90 minutes, got another goal. Drew yet another red card with a great foul that he, was fouled. 2 out of 2 successful dribbles, 0 out of 3 accurate crosses, 2 out of 2 tackles won, 6 out of 6 ground duels won, and 2 fouls drawn. Versus Empoli just today, played 63 minutes, scored the winning goal, had 1 out of 4 successful dribbles, 0 out of 5 accurate crosses, 3 out of 8 ground duels won, and 2 fouls drawn. He is now up to 17 goal contributions for Milan and well on track to beat his season record of 21 goal contributions, which he got at Chelsea in the 1920 season, 4 years ago. This was the much discussed goal. All those clowns on CBS Sports saying, oh, he stole the goal from Leao. He didn't steal shit. There was a defender on the line who still could have cleared it. It was an instinctive run into the box. That's what you're taught. Every player is taught to do. You make sure it goes over the line. There is absolutely nothing wrong with what he did. And anybody saying that there is does not understand the game. And I've been very surprised to see some clowns on CBS Sports who were professional players trying to make it like he did something wrong. Okay, but that's American soccer media for you. So good for Christian Pulisic. This was his goal. This one, he may have had some help. It deflected off the defender, and then the keeper couldn't hold on to it. But not every goal that you score is going to be a worldie. The fact is, he's been consistent this season with his production, and he's also been really good. Defensively, and that's been Pioli's telling his players to press to try to force the ball onto the left-hand side of the field because they know Pulisic is going to drop back and help Calabria a lot more than Leao is going to drop back and help, Theo Hernandez. So good on our boy Christian. Who else could get first but the man who not only recovers from a dislocated shoulder in less than a week, but also gets 2 assists. Now, it wasn't a great result for Juve, getting 2-2 against Atalanta, but both assists came from Weston McKennie, the American Wolverine. 5 chances created as well. 0 out of 2 accurate crosses, 2 out of 2 accurate long balls, 2 out of 4 ground duels won, 0 out of 2 aerial duels won. This was the first assist where he chested it down from a cross for Vlahovic to score. And the second assist was a great little through ball, just split the two defenders here to get him in behind and equalized for Juve when they were down 0-1, 1-0 to Atalanta in the 66th minute. So good on Weston McKennie. Heartening to see. And it was such a good weekend that we still have guys on the bench. Esmir Baraktarevic got one goal for New England in the it wasn't on the weekend, it was in the midweek 4-0 win over Alajuelense in the Champions Cup is what it was. Wasn't the greatest goal by any means. It was a tap in, but he was in the right place at the right time and tapped it in. Nothing special, but, good for Esmir, 18 years old, getting regular minutes with the Revolution, one to watch. Chris Brady. Oh, the fire. Yes, guys, we cannot have a 11 Yank stream without a few digs at the fire. Did Johnny Cardoso just come on and get an assist? Of course he did. Of course he did. Johnny, you're too late for the stream. Let's see if this is true. Let us see if this is true or if this is rumor. I don't think so. No, guys, there's no Johnny Cardoso assist. Aaron Long's big stick spreading misinformation as usual. Or maybe it just hasn't showed up yet on FOTMob. We shall see if it shows up. Anywho, all that to say, so that's Esmir. Chris Brady, despite the Fire losing 2-1 to defending champions Columbus, the absolute shit show of a Fire continue to find new levels of shit. Despite spending $12 million on Hugo Kuipers and bringing in Andrew Gutman and Kellen Acosta, they are still coached by AYSO coach Frank Klopas, and they are still managed by the clown George Heights, who, despite not reaching the easy target of making the playoffs once in his 4 years, still managed to get a contract extension. Failure is rewarded in Chicago, and that attitude and mentality permeates throughout the entire roster, and the players are giving the owner, the coach, and the manager exactly what they want: failure. Because when you tell your players that you reward failure, you are not incentivizing success. Klopas should have been fired and sent to the Greek beach that he said he wanted to be in the first place. George Heights should have been sent back to Lugano, overhyped, over-trusted idiot. I'm sorry. And they should have brought in new management and an actual coach, not the rec league coach that Frank Klopas has been pretty much his entire fucking life. Anywho, all that said, it would have been 8 or 9-1 to Columbus if Chris Brady wasn't having an absolute worldie of a game. Numerous fingertip saves, diving saves, one-on-one saves. Brandon Vasquez got a goal for Monterrey against his old club Cincinnati, mostly due to the fault of Roman Celentano, let's be honest, but a goal's a goal. Rokas Pukstas got a nice headed goal for Hajduk Split, won the ball in the air. Terrible coming off his line for the keeper, who should have been able to grab. If the keeper comes off his line and you out-jump the keeper when he can use, he has an extra 1.5 feet, 2 feet with his arms, that's terrible keeping, but good for him. Gavin Beavers got his good first start of the season. 18-year-old Gavin Beavers got his first goal of the season for Real Salt Lake and made 5 good saves. They did lose that game 2-1 to Colorado, but Gavin Beavers was impressive at such a young age. And Gabriel Slonina helped KAS Eupen get a 1-0 win over St. Truden by making 5 saves and a clean sheet. Never heard of him. He is probably going to be the number 1 keeper for this U20 cycle. Gavin Beavers. Strong, big guy. Had some really, really good saves against Colorado. I know. Yes, we got a dude in the pool named Beavers. TSRC guys are going to love him. I know. They're definitely going to love him. And then outside of this bench, you still had, Cole Bassett got a goal. Georgi Mihailovic got an assist. Jesus Ferreira got a goal. Trying to think who else just missed out. Oh, Damien, there's two dual nats who did well. Damian Downs for FC Cologne, 19-year-old, who I think got one appearance for our U20s. Got a really nice goal for FC Cologne, so maybe someone to track. And Nathaniel Brown, the left back, got an assist as well. They're both American. German dual nats. So guys to watch. We'll probably start including them as options in the top 10 if they keep playing. But yeah, there's more and more talent on the way, and competition for spots at every level of the national team, the senior team, the U23s, the U20s, U17s, is only going to get tougher and tougher because we have more talent coming through and more dual nats coming through, and it's goddamn good to see. All right, couple of super chats here. Thank you, Landon. I've been 3 to 6 months away from U.S. soccer news. Can you give me a 60 to 120 second summary where we are at? Possible topics: 1, USA standouts; 2, new recruits; 3, coach or triple G; 4, future World Cup / Olympics. Okay, try to do this as quickly as I can. USA standouts. I mean, Pulisic and McKennie are probably the two having the best seasons. You could definitely throw Dest in there too. So Pulisic, McKennie, Dest, Johnny is probably the second half of the season has probably been the biggest surprise, just walking into La Liga and looking instantly comfortable, and not just comfortable, but I would argue dominant. Malik Tillman's had a good season, particularly the second half. Still needs to work on his consistency, but his numbers are very good. Pepe, when he plays, is good. Sargent and Haji are standing out. Chris Richards has earned a starting spot now for Palace and is a locked-in starter at center back. Anthony Robinson continues to be at least a top 8 left back in the Premier League. Wuxia Games says Haji has 19 goal contributions. Balogun isn't having the best season, but is still managing to be productive some of the time. Gio is probably the big concern that we all have at the moment. Made the ill-advised move to Nottingham Forest and isn't playing, is now injured again. Austin Trusty is probably going back down to the Championship, but he's starting in the Premier League. Joe Scally starting. Paxton Aronson made a good move to the Netherlands and is doing well so far. Kevin Paredes is now a starter for Wolfsburg. Brendan Aronson continues to suck in Brendan Aronson fashion. Tyler Adams is just now coming back, was on the bench for Bournemouth today. Let's see how long before he starts to get some minutes. Trying to think who else is worth discussing. Ethan Horvath got a move and is now playing. Gabriel Slanina is a starter in Belgium. Tim Weah hardly gets minutes for Juve. Musa mostly gets sub minutes for Milan. Taylor Booth is injured again. No surprise there. Zach Booth has had some interesting moments. Luca De La Torre has added goals and assists to his repertoire, starting every week for Celta Vigo. He was always very good, but also was very goal shy for most of his career. And Rafa Benitez has been pushing him to shoot more, to be more involved in the final third, and it's paid off. I think he's got 9 goal contributions this season. Leonard Maloney continues to be a starter and good player for Heidenheim. There's just a lot to be excited about this season, despite, I think Gio Raina probably being the biggest disappointment. Cameron Carter-Vick, outside of Ream and, Richards. Ream is now benched for Fulham. We'll see. Sometimes he plays, sometimes he doesn't. But ultimately, none of that really matters, Len. I mean, it matters in the bigger scope. But in terms of our performance this summer, the heat that Greg Berhalter is sitting on should be like the hot pants of hell. Those little tight shorts those tight shorts that he likes to wear should be the hot pants of hell through Nations League and Copa America. Anything less than winning Nations League and making it to the semifinal of Copa America, or if it is Brazil in the quarterfinal, at least giving Brazil a really good game, should be an instant firing for a man who I think we all know at this point is a fraud. So new recruits. Yep. Well, this kid Cole Campbell from the Dortmund Academy, just committed to the U.S. So we'll see how that goes. Is doing well for their academy, but too early to say how much of a contributor he could be. Should probably start with the U20s. Icelandic international winger / forward. Some can also play the 10. Was in Atlanta United's academy. Trying to think if there's any other new recruits. Probably not a ton. There's talk of Lucho Acosta and that German guy on Nashville, whose name I forget, signing 30-year-old dual nats who are MLS lifers is really not, I don't think, the direction we should be going in. Trying to think who else, what's his name is going to be with the U20s from RSL. Boy, somebody in the chat. His name has escaped me. What's his name? The Mexican-American Fidel Barajas. Fidel Barajas is also looks like he's going to be with our U20. So there's a lot of exciting things. Really, it's can Greg get this team performing well with good tactics, in-game adjustments? Can Greg get the fuck out of his own way is really the question that we're going to find out in March and in the summer. But he should be under pressure. The pressure should absolutely be on. It's not, because U.S. Soccer seems to be in love with him and the media do their bidding. Whatever the U.S. Soccer says and MLS says, the media, like good little soldiers, go out there and shit on fans who have standards and then try to justify excuses for more shit. But anyways, that aside, I'd say overall it's been a very positive second half of the season, certainly from a club perspective. As far as how we'll look in March and in the summer, that remains to be seen. Next up, Julian Vivas. Does Gio injury mean that he won't be part of the Nations League? Also, do you think Brendan will go to the Dutch League next season? I guess we don't know how bad Gio's injury is. It seems like it's a knock, but that's 2 games out now. If Forrest says, yeah, he's injured, he can't go, then he won't go, which is a big loss for us. But McKennie, Pulisic, Balogun, Tillman, Way, all these other guys can step up. So, I mean, we're better with Gio, in my opinion, than we are without him. But this is why you have depth, right? Somebody injured and can't go. I don't know what Brendan's going to do next season. If Leeds gets promoted, which is looking likely, I don't think they're going to try to bring Brendan back. So it's a question of what next, Could he go play at PSV or something? I don't know. Brendan's going to have to figure that out, but it's been a really him and Gio have been the 2 most disappointing, players this season for different reasons, right? Gio, the talent is there, certainly, but it's just about him. I don't know what it is. Like, if it's the lack of defending or it's just going to clubs that already have a true 10 that is better than him. He's a very specific profile of a player. Nowadays in the game, I don't think you can, like, an attacking 10 who isn't very good defensively is great if you're Messi or Neymar, but he's neither of those. So you have to defend. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne defends. That's my guess. He's a 10, and at both clubs that he's been to, they already have 10s, whether it's Dortmund or Forest, and he doesn't do enough work defensively. Very likely. I'm not saying this for sure. I'm saying very likely that's the reason why he's not getting game time. And now he's injured again, and that's not going to help his case at all. So at some point, Gio needs to buck up and figure it the fuck out. Because when I'm losing patience with Gio, it's bad. Because I'm probably his biggest advocate. All right, Aaron's Long's Big Stick says, Gio dropped by Forrest for being overrated. Your commitment to trolling is beautiful, Aaron Long. Unfortunately, you are incorrect. He was dropped because of injury. Julian Vivas says, also, what do you think of Weah possibly leaving? Looks like Juventus are giving up on him. He just signed a contract there, so I wouldn't bet on him leaving anytime soon. Yeah, it's just hard to say. I don't know if Juve wants to use him as a wing back off the bench, then that's fine. But I don't think he's going to be leaving anytime soon. But that's just my personal opinion. Oh, yeah, Turner has also been pretty disappointing this year, Russ Carter. Also, Esmir is attracting European interest. Yeah, Esmir should stay in MLS the rest of this year at least and show out in MLS. Like, I'm all for players going to Europe, but I think he needs a full season under his belt to really learn some things and to start showing some consistency before he goes. But yeah, definitely a talent to watch for sure. And thank you to all the new members, Jose Reyes and Frank Kassler, who just signed up. And thank you to everybody who watched the stream. Do not forget to smash that like button before you go. I'm going to end the stream here because we have some... I'm going to go to an Oscar party with some friends. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Patreon video tomorrow with all of these goals and assists and performances in short clip form because I can't do it on YouTube, but I can do it on Patreon. It's $3 a month if anybody wants to go subscribe. That'll be available tomorrow. Smash that like button before you go. Y'all have a great rest of your Sunday, and may the USMNT continue to spike our excitement and joy for the rest of the season. And may we win a trophy this March if Greg Berhalter can get out of his own way. See you guys soon.